Good day, viewers, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Erongo Talk. My name is Desiree Garces, and I'll be bringing you all the trending news and the latest news that's happening in and around the coast. But before we do that, stay tuned for the following video.
Erongo Talk brings you community news in the Erongo region. Erongo Talk aims to reach coastal residents, keeping them updated on what's happening in their community. This show is broadcasted on NTV, 102.com, and cross-shared on the following Facebook platforms: Erongo, The Republican, Algemeine Zeitung, Namibian Sun, and Namibia Media Holdings. Erongo Talk focuses on community news, weather update, fishing report, helpful tips, as well as sport and entertainment. For news-related or advertising queries, contact Erongo Talk at synergy.com.na. Erongo Talk, our community, your news.
While heading right into our news segment, we do have the Erongo Region Maternity and Newborn Health Symposium, hosted for a first time since 3 years ago, and they made a comeback on Wednesday. More than 50 stakeholders from around the region came together to accelerate early intervention, improve maternal and newborn survival, and prevent stillbirths in a coordinated and inclusive manner. Savonia Plateau from the Volvicha Hospital's maternity ward, Hen Etienne, an obstetrician and gynecologist, Xolani Ndlovu, a nuclear physician, and Mrs. Kumalo, an obstetrician and a gynecologist, graced the event with their presence at the Langstrand Hotel as panelists. Sebastian, a healthcare practitioner specializing in Pediatrician in Swakopmund, said that the Erongo Region Maternity and Newborn Health Symposium aims to give back from the data received from different spheres: delivery complications, pulmonary embolisms, postpartum depression, steroid administration, and the risk thereof, and trends seen in maternal health and trends seen in newborn health issues. Secondly, in our news segment, Namibia, as the chair of the Southern African Development Community Organ on Politics, Defense and Security, hosted a workshop on preventing radicalization, violence, and recruitment in prisons. The executive director of the Ministry of Home Affairs, Immigration, Safety and Security, Etienne Merritt, represented the Minister of Home Affairs, Mr. Albert Kwana, on the occasion at the Atlantic Hotel in Walfish Bay. The minister, in his keynote address delivered by Merritt, said that peace and security have prevailed in most parts of SADC region. Therefore, many member states might not have considered the subject of violence, let alone put it in place security measures to prevent this threat. However, no country is immune to violent extremism and correctional prisons and services, as government agencies have obligations to secure confidence that they have the ability to prevent and respond to threats, which requires that prison administrations ensure that there are measures to facilitate, secure, and have safe custody of violent extremist prisoners, as well as interventions to prevent radicalization within prison systems. Moving on to our last story, we had a delegation of representatives from Namport and the Walfish Bay Corridor Group that visited Zambia and the Democratic Republic of Congo recently. The team conducted a corridor assignment tour of the Walfish Bay Ndola Development Corridor, also known as the WBNLDC, and assessed the key border infrastructure. They also gained an understanding rather of the advantages and disadvantages of trading through Port of Walfish Bay through the WB NLDC, and promoted the export and import of goods through the corridor. The delegation used the opportunity to visit clients while promoting business development initiatives through the use of the corridor, led by Namport's board chairperson, Nangula Amunyela. Well, that is it on our news segment for today.
Erongo Talk brings you community news in the Erongo region. Erongo Talk aims to reach coastal residents, keeping them updated on what's happening in their community. This show is broadcasted on NTV, 1of2.com, and cross-shared on the following Facebook platforms: Erongo, The Republican, Algemeine Zeitung, Namibian Sun, and Namibia Media Holdings. Erongo Talk focuses on community news, weather update, fishing report, helpful tips, as well as sport and entertainment. For news-related or advertising queries, contact erongotalk at synergy.com.na. Erongo Talk, our community, your news.
And now for our interview, we had the Erongo Region Maternity and Newborn Health Symposium that made a comeback after not taking place for about 3 years. So stay tuned for that.
So I think what's important is to understand the method of data collection. So we make use of a handwritten maternity register and a handwritten neonatal register. This is completely different from ICD billing 10 codes, where we see that there's a lot of flaws in those data. So those data is also circulating, but this is the most accurate data that we can find. Then our males seem to be the same. We always have about a 50-50 split, so there should be a lid for every pot at the end of the day. So, and then we still see quite a lot of patients coming from Walvis Bay, even though Walvis Bay seems to be the bigger unit. So it's still interesting. We're trying to find out what all the health-seeking behavior dynamics are with regards to that. But we see that we're still seeing quite a bit of patients from Walvis Bay. Then our mode of delivery, still very high compared to other places in the world, but still on par with the rest of the country and with South Africa as well. So we have just over 60% cesarean section rates, which is very high, but there's obviously, in terms of medical legal and patient cultures and physician behaviors, we do see that we still have quite a high cesarean section rate. Then the age of our mothers sort of stay the same. Roughly the average age is about 31 years of age. We still see teenage pregnancies. The last, in 2020, 2021, our youngest patients were 15. In 2020 was 20, and we have about a 1 to 2% teenage pregnancy rate, as you can see there at the bottom, which is actually very little. I remember the Western Cape, we had about 25% at the state hospital was teenage pregnancies. We don't see very old mothers. The oldest one last year was 41, so not that old. And then on average, they're about gravid 2 moms that present to the unit. Our birth weights stay sort of the same. We haven't really seen a decrease or a change in trend there. Our APGAR scores are doing quite well, the first and 5-minute scores. And then our twins, the twin ratio has decreased last year to just under 1%, where it was much higher in the past. Then the average gestational age is still lower than what I would like to see as a pediatrician. So we're hovering at about 38 weeks. And those who were born at 38 weeks still stick at almost 50%. So from a pediatric perspective, under 39 weeks is premature. So we still see a lot of babies born at 38 weeks that end up in our neonatal ICU for complications such as hypoglycemia or temperature instability or transient tachypnea of the newborn. So we do encourage pushing that to 39 weeks as far as possible to prevent those largely preventable complications. And those truly per definition premature is about 17% that we see in our unit. And as we can see, it has stuck the same. So despite some of our encouraging messages, we still see quite the same things. Obviously, it's not just as simple as choosing. There are other factors, obviously, bringing about premature delivery as well. Then, yeah, as we look at our gestational age distribution, we see the average stays the same. And then at 38 weeks, we did well in 2021, and now it seems like we're doing more deliveries at 38 weeks. And our ones under 37 weeks also increased from the year before. So what we're really trying to do is, and we think this is why our stats looks a bit worse than it actually is. There's a big difference between 38 weeks and 0 days and 38 weeks and 6 days. So there's quite a big difference between that week's difference. So what we're going to try and do for the next year is to actually report not just on weeks gestation, but weeks and days to get a more true representation of whether we're actually delivering these babies at 38 weeks or are they just closer to 39 and it just didn't tick over to 39 weeks yet, because we perceive that the message is coming across that we need to do our deliveries a bit later. Group E streptococcus stats, so we've been implementing this now for the last 3 or so years, that we do universal screening for ladies during pregnancy, which is on par with what the rest of the world is encouraging us to do. So we've got 156 of the mothers were tested in this specific year, which is about 62% of our deliveries. We have 2 positive cases, which is relatively low, whereas in the previous year we had about 19% positive. So there's definitely been a change. We do actually screen more than 62% of our patients. It's just when we extrapolate this data from PATK, it seems like some of them go lost. So we're looking at a different way of actually recording what we're doing. Just a quick note about group E streptococcus, because it still seems to be something fairly new here at the coast. Group E strep goes from the mother to the baby through contact with the mucous membranes. They either ingest the infected amniotic fluid or it colonizes the babies. About 50% of babies who are born to mothers who are colonized will also be colonized, and up to 2% of them will manifest disease, and disease is quite bad for them. So we do universal screening, intrapartum antibiotics. We do, so it's very important. A lot of doctors still treat with antibiotics during the pregnancy. The aim is not to treat the mother. The aim is to get very high dose of ampicillin during labor, so that we actually get the ampicillin into the baby's bloodstream, so that when those mucous membranes rupture and the babies pass through the infected fluent that they have prophylactic antibiotics. So irrespective of whether the mothers are treated during their pregnancy, there will still need to be treatment in labor should there be rupture of membranes, so that we can prevent infections for the baby. There's also in future there will be maternal vaccinations. So the cost is not high. So it costs about 350 Namibian dollars if you don't choose sensitivity, which is quite low in terms of other testing that we do. The start of life without groupie strep is priceless.
E-Ticket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nhom.com.na. region. For news-related or advertising queries, contact Erongo Talk at synergy.com.na. Erongo Talk, our community, your news. E-Ticket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nhom.com.na. Erongo Talk brings you community news in the Erongo region. Erongo Talk aims to reach coastal residents, keeping them updated on what's happening in their community. This show is broadcasted on NTV, 102.com, and cross-shared on the following Facebook platforms: Erongo, The Republican, Allgemeine Zeitung, Namibian Sun, and Namibia Media Holdings. Erongo Talk focuses on community news, weather update, fishing report, helpful tips, as well as sport and entertainment. For news-related or advertising queries, contact Erongo Talk at synergy.com.na. Erongo Talk, our community, your news.
Well, viewers, we have unfortunately reached the end of today's episode. However, if you would like to stay in touch with the latest news and trending topics that are happening in and around the coast, you can keep in touch with us on our social media platform, which is, of course, Erongo. And you can also keep in touch with us on our NTV TV channel, which is on DSTV as channel 285. So I will see you guys again next week. Same time, different place. Bye.